Discovering possibilities and potential with passion every day. This is a TPPN production. Welcome to the iPad Possibilities Podcast, episode number 84. App competition is good. This is the iPad Possibilities Podcast, and this is Tim here, and we have another episode for today, and this is a just spontaneous episode that I wanted to throw out after I've been seeing some updates come along in my email inbox and different places like that in the App Store, of course. But before we dive into the show for today, I want to just have some announcements here, and the first is the screencast that I'm so loving and so passionate about putting out there every week have been put on hold, unfortunately, because of a bug in the application. The display recorder or screen recorder application that I use that I got from Cydia, which records all the stuff I do on my iPad, has suddenly been malfunctioning. The app, when I launch it, the buttons don't work. They just don't work at all. And after a few seconds, the app crashes. And I've tried reinstalling the application from within Cydia. I've tried uninstalling the application, rebooting, then installing again, and same thing. So there just seems to be no fix right now to get this app working. It's really frustrating because I paid $5 for this application to record my display, right? And with Cydia, you don't get a whole lot of support from developers out there because it is that marketplace. So this has been a kind of a bad taint on this whole jailbreak thing. I hope I see a fix soon. I hope the developer is able to fix it or tell me what's going on with this. It's been kind of hard to reach the developer because they actually don't have an email address you can contact these guys at. It's a very hackery thing, this jailbreak community. So yeah, kind of disappointed there. So I'm going to try to get those up and running as soon as possible, but just want to announce that. And then also tune in for the Friday, Saturday episode this week. That will be the episode that John and I get together and discuss Apple's media event and how it relates to the iPad. So that may actually come out earlier. That may come out on, Friday for everybody instead of putting it off until Saturday for everybody, because I think it's going to be important information. So that will be Friday for everybody, most likely here. So we're doing a special episode on that for the Friday, Saturday episode of this week. And so that's kind of the announcements for today. And let's get on to the show. And that is App Competition is Good. And the original title of this was going to be Notify 2.0 and Max Journal, the future of it. So those are the two applications that are going to be featured today. And the reason I'm featuring these are there's some big updates coming along. And these were applications I talked about earlier on in different episodes. The first one was featured in my PDF annotations episode that I did a couple weeks back that I got some pretty positive feedback on. And Notify is just had their 2.0 update. It reached my update tab and I updated, and some very cool things. So let's jump into that application right now. And the reason this episode is called Competition is Good is as we have competition in this market, as application developers see other apps that are competing with them, we're seeing developers just make their products so much better to stay on the edge, the leading edge of what you can do with their applications. So here is what is featured in this 2.0 update. Most significantly is Evernote support. You're able to import information from Evernote, and most importantly, you're able to simply sync your documents from this application, _Notify, to Evernote. And what that does is whenever you do anything on there, it just automatically synchronizes that to a new Evernote notebook called Notify in Evernote. So whatever you do there, all your information is instantly in Evernote, accessible on all of your devices, and provides a great backup solution as well for you to have that information. This is one of the best integrations of Evernote I've seen yet, and it's simply phenomenal. And I'm a huge Evernote fanatic, and so this update was pretty big that they added this. So you simply go into the settings and say, I want to sync this to Evernote, and it starts syncing your information. So all your PDFs, your custom-made PDFs. And if you don't remember, _Notify was an application that I featured as one of those things you can build a PDF from scratch. You can literally take a blank page, add maps, add all those different things to it, and make your own PDFs and build your PDFs within this application. So that's what the feature was with this application. So what they also have added, they've added easier writing support. So you can use your finger and a pen on the screen, and they've done it in a way that you're able to zoom in better and write more efficiently and cleaner. They've added the ability to insert, instead of just a section of a web page, a whole web page. You're able to insert Word documents, Excel documents, PowerPoints, and HTML files into this. You're able to change the color and hue of the different drawing regions that you have. You're also able to rearrange the pages more easily. I don't think that's possible in the past. You're able to delete pages much more easily. You're able to actually rearrange keys on the math symbol keyboard, which is pretty cool. And you're able to basically add subscript and subscript numbers to the Mac keyboard stuff, the superscript stuff. So you're able to do some pretty advanced stuff as far as typography, right? And you're able to also add bookmarks for the web browser there. You're able to export and use that export to paste into a photo album. So you're actually able to export into your photo album now, which is pretty cool. I don't think I'll use it that much because of this Evernote synchronization we have going on here. And you're able to have basically better wrist protection when you're writing and things. So it protects unnecessary marks for when you're working within this app, just like I believe the other application that does that is that paper. I forget what it's called. It's a pretty cool application. I forget what it's called though. Some other apps do this, but basically it protects accidental input here. You're also able to have support for iOS 4. So this is for the iPhone, background tasking. So this will be pretty cool when it gets updated for the iPad 4 when that comes out. You're able to also it's basically a lot of internal improvements. So it works better with low memory usage. When you're jailbroken, you have lower memory when you're running all these things at the same time. You're able to export to higher resolution, so more of a 1-to-1 ratio, so you don't lose quality now in your exports. And you're also able to, what else is added here? The Mac keyboard buttons are bigger on the iPad, so when you're throwing those in there, I guess they're bigger, and fixed a lot of problems and rendering problems that would happen with large PDFs and images and things like that. They've also added Retina support for the iPhone and the ability to snap a whiteboard on the iPhone and edit that whiteboard on your iPhone. So those are the big updates here with 2.0. And I think the big update is the Evernote stuff. That's huge. And I think as more and more people add this, it'll just drive the competition to do the same thing. We're going to add Evernote support. We're going to add Dropbox support. We're going to make this as full-featured and simple as possible. And we're going to get this application cleaner. We're going to have all the code cleaned up and make it faster, more efficient. And that's what this update was all about. It added some great features. Added the ability to add the whole web page, Excel files, Word files. So you're able to, create some pretty powerful PDFs to instruct people to have basically training manuals done with this application. So as the ability has, you're able to add Word documents. You're able to highlight different things and showcase different things in that Word document. You're able to showcase different things on websites, HTML, and all these different things. It's just a complete package here. And with this update, it's just a pretty significant update. It's only $1 for the application itself, and once again, it's called _Notify, and it's listen to the PDF annotation episode a while back, a couple of episodes back, for all of my thoughts on the original version. But this newly updated version is very welcomed indeed. So once again, app competition is good. So the next app I wanted to feature today is Max Journal. And the reason I'm featuring it is because literally minutes before this show started, before I started recording this episode, I got an email from Max Journal. And this email was basically describing the future, where they're going with the application, and it got me excited about where they are going with this application, and they're basically giving me some good competition for my memoir. I'm a huge fan of my memoir, and I still think even with this update, it'll be close, right? I think they're not adding EPUB support to export to, so that's the one thing they're not adding that I'm really disappointed about. But the other stuff they're adding, it'll be a close competition now, and some other people may see that same competition arise. So this is what the big update will bring. The biggest update, it'll have two big updates here. First, they're working on an iPhone version of the application and a Mac version of the application. So you're able to sync this actually with the iPad. So all of your data is in sync between your Mac, your iPhone, your iPod Touch, your your iPad even. So it's all in sync and has those different clients and different devices, which is amazing. So you're not forced to use the iPad if you don't want to. And that's an awesome thing that they're adding. They're also adding unlimited journal support, so more than one journal, just like my memoir. And that is a very significant update, because that's the one of the two big reasons I loved my memoir: the multiple journals and the EPUB. So they're still not doing the EPUB, it looks like. So here's the email I got as far as the updates. We are close to the next update to Mac's Journal. A lot has been added to this upcoming version, but its main focus is on multiple journal support. You will now be able to create as many separate journals as you'd like, each with its own password. Many of you have requested this feature as you live in a household with multiple users on your iPad, or you have the need for separate journals for different purposes: business, personal, vacation, etc. Photos have been improved. You can now add many more photos per day. The previous limit was 3 per day, but now the limit should be around 20 to 30 images per day. You will also be able to add images directly in line with your text, and the text will auto-wrap around your images. The text images can be moved around, scaled in size, rotated, and the text will always respect the placement of the images. There is much more to the new update, but much of the work went into the underpinnings of the program, creating a more stable, more efficient journal machine. Almost all existing areas have been improved. That said, there is much that you've all asked for that we haven't been able to add yet. Please be patient. We've been concurrently developing the iPhone/iPod version of Mac's Journal, including journal sync using the cloud. Dropbox. We expect to deliver the iPhone version and sync into your hands just weeks after we release the iPad update. The iPhone version will be free for existing Mac's Journal users. Once we deliver the iPhone version, we will be spending some time on adding some newer and more requested features, especially the new media types, location, audio, voice recording, and more. So that was the email, the part of the email at least that focused on updates and the future of it. And it's an exciting feature that you'll be able to sync through Dropbox your journals, your personal information to all those different devices. And, perhaps this new iPod Nano, I've seen rumors it'll have iOS 4 on it. And perhaps they'll have an app for that too. I don't know what that environment will be like. There will be apps for the iPod Nano. But it's a very cool thing that we're now seeing some competition. I praised my memoir for their amazing multiple journal support. Now these guys are adding it. So what will my memoir do to continue to be the best of the best as far as journaling, as I think they still are to this day? But Mac's Journal is a wonderful competition, and we're seeing that these app developers are being very competitive, being on top of each other, trying to be the best of the best as far as what they do. So Mac's Journal is truly trying to be the best journaling platform they can be. They're providing a sync service through Dropbox that goes to all of your machines. And I think this is going to be an incredible update that will really push the application developers to do more with their apps. And the one thing I wish they added to this update was EPUB support. That would be an amazing feature that would bring feature parity, or even more features, I would have to say, than my memoir. So I really hope they add that feature as well. So the future is good, I think, for applications. We're going to see lots of competition come and many more updates come to all of these apps we have known to love. And it's an exciting time for those that use applications. And I just wanted to spend today just featuring two of the applications that I talked about in the past that I think it's time to revisit those and see, hey, these guys are on ball. They're moving forward. They're doing some great things here. So I wanted to feature those, and that was kind of the theme for the day. App competition is good. And I'm sure I'll have another show like this in the future, just updating everyone as to the wonderful world of apps and what's going on in that world. So app competition is good. If you would like to leave feedback, I'd greatly appreciate that. And that's kind of the show for the day. So if you want to leave feedback, simply call in to 209-542-iPad. That's 4723. So add that to your speed dial, 209-542-iPad, and leave your feedback today and in the future. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and what your favorite applications are, how to use your iPad, all of those things. I'd love to hear from you. You can do that by voice, just calling that number. Or you can also email me at iPadpossibilities@gmail.com. If you'd like to get more content from this podcast, you can do that by becoming a premium member of the podcast. With a premium member, my goal is to give you content 5 days a week, 3 audio, 2 video. So that's the goal of that premium podcast, and we will have those video podcasts up very shortly. I'm working on a fix for that. But becoming a premium member is one great way to support this podcast and get even more content. You can do that by going to iPadpossibilities.com or tppn.tv and just searching and clicking on the iPad Premium page. It's $2 a month, and it's I thought let's have it low cost so anyone who wants to can become a member and support the podcast and get more content that way too. So that's one great way. You can also purchase the iPad Possibilities podcast app in the iTunes App Store for $2.99. With that app, you get the shows Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, just as you do as a premium member of the podcast. With that said, you've been listening to the iPad Possibilities podcast on tppn.tv. This is Tim, and I'm very excited to talk about Apple's media event coming up very soon here. Have a great iPad week.